What's up, everybody? It's your boy Guapo live right here in the compound, bringing you another episode of Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. Sitting across from me is the one and only, the man himself, Little Guapo.
What it do?
Sitting off to my left, making sure everything looks great on the screen, bringing everything to you is the one and only, the guy.
Yee-yee.
You know, it's been a really crazy week, and we're going to get into all of that. Before we do, want to give, a little shout out to those people that help take care of us. I want to say a big thank you to Ross and the guys from Labor 12 for our music, Head Rush. You can find it on the Monsters album. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that yet, you need to.
You're missing out.
If you have had a chance to hear it, you liked what you heard, some good news for you here. May the 18th over at Jake's Backroom, Labor 12 doing it live with Psycho Stick. So if you're in the Lubbock area, this is your chance to head over and see Labor 12 do it live. And when you hear Head Rush, just know your boys at Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast are thinking about you.
That's us.
So we've got a few things coming up. Of course, May the 6th, we've got BCW Head Games over at the TMW Event Center. Absolutely stacked card. Looking forward to this one. We've got the Bear Hug Challenge, which is Scar versus a mystery opponent. And Scar puts it out there, says, there's not a person alive that can break my bear hug. So I'm interested to see who that mystery opponent is.
That's because I ain't been in the ring with him. That's what it is.
All right, you heard it here. Little Guapo is ready to take the bear hug challenge. You heard it here first. We got a grudge match, Alton Black versus Damian Blood. That one, who doesn't love a good grudge match? I mean, it's going to be a really great match. Can't wait to see that one. Princess Deathwish and Lilith Blood, that's going to be a great match. I saw Lilith Blood do her thing at one of the SCP shows, and I wouldn't want to be across the ring.
Say what? Well, but kind of intimidating.
A little bit. We've got the finish to the old school tag team champion tournament. We're going to have the Resistance versus Three Ring Circus, and somebody's walking out of that as the new old school tag team champions. Three Ring Circus. I might be a little biased.
Yeah, I could see it.
We've got the War Chief, who's over in Japan right now, getting ready to make his way back over here to the States, going against your friendly neighborhood Vato, Emilio Guzman. Looking forward to that. I've never seen Emilio Guzman put on a bad match. So, I mean, it's going to be good. And you've got the Texas Terror versus the Living Proof, as you've got Damo McCullough against Justin Taylor. And then the one everybody's waiting for. Absolutely, the Living Proof. The one everybody's waiting for, the BCW Texas title triple threat match. You're going to have Ryan Justice versus Wild Card versus Logan Knight. And we found out about this. There is no time limit. There is no disqualifications. Somebody walks away from this match, the winner, with that BCW Texas title. And not only the winner, but the person who will be taking on Sledge from Ring of Honor in July. So that's gonna be a big one.
Heck of a match. Lots of implications.
Just gonna throw a little surprise out there for everybody, and maybe a surprise for you as well. Next week, right here on the podcast, we're gonna have special guest Wild Card. That's right, the BCW Texas champ on the show with us next week. So make sure you tune in for that one.
So wear my Ryan Justice shirt next week. Is what you're telling me?
I mean, you can. I'm gonna have my mask, so it is what it is. Also on May the 20th, we have Squared Circle Pros Tornado Slam over at Jake's. Another stack card. Lubbock Street Fight. You got Damo with Nolan Phillips against Phoenix. If you've never seen Phoenix wrestle, this dude is massive and such a good talent in the ring. So this is gonna be a really good match. I've got a grudge.
Him and Tino stole the show last event. Him and
absolutely.
Tino were probably the best match on the card, I think.
I can go with that. You got a grudge match, LC Mox versus one of the Chili Boys. Dylan Scott gets to make that choice as to which one. So interesting to see where that one goes. Special challenge. Justin Taylor is taking on Nate Collins. Nate Collins making his Squared Circle Pro debut.
Oh, yep.
And doing so against the Living Proof himself. We've got a tag team championship match is Bloodlust versus Los Crudos versus Three Ring Circus. And we got a little preview of what that match is going to look like. This is an anything goes match. So there's going to be tables, there's going to be chairs, there's going to be rubber chickens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all going to happen. So you're not going to want to miss that match. We've got another grudge match. It's Aaron Harms versus Reggie Lincoln. The West Texas Women's Championship match, Gypsy versus Nova Phoenix. Nova Phoenix came out and had a few words for Gypsy last time they met up. So she's getting her shot at that title. And then ending it up with the match you're waiting for, I know. It's the SCP Championship match between Ryan Justice, the champ himself, and the Latin lover, Tino Valentino.
Man, that's going to be a good match. That's going to be a good one.
I can't stress enough how much you should get out there and see live wrestling in West Texas. The indie circuit here is like no other, and just have to go see it.
Yep, you're missing out. If you have not, do it.
So you may notice that sitting beside me is not Baby Bruss. He's had a crazy weekend with UIL and all sorts of things. So he's recharging at the moment.
He's probably on the phone with his girlfriend. I don't want to hear it.
I mean, that is a distinct possibility, but he may be joining us in the chat here in just a little bit. So I'm going to take on his duties today, and I'm going to give the Raw report. Fairly decent Raw this week. We started out with the Usos coming out and giving a Paul Heyman, of course, with them, saying that history is about to unfold. And before he can tell us what this unfolding history is, Judgment Day comes out. They get in the ring all together and just staring them down. Damian Priest walks by and stops in front of Solo Sikoa and just face to face, staring into each other's eyes. And Paul Heyman's like, oh, wait a minute. Let's not do this. So Paul says it's a very good day to be a very bad guy, which the Usos were completely unaware that anything was going on. But apparently the tribal chief has said that the bloodline can help the Judgment Day take care of their concerns. And the Judgment Day can help the bloodline take care of their problems. Because there's a difference there. See, Ray is a concern and Bad Bunny is a concern. So Solo's going to take care of both of those. Of course, Solo's going to take on Bad Bunny at Backlash. And come to find out, he's going to take on Rey Mysterio tonight on Raw. And so everything looked good there. He says he's got a riddle to solve. You know, they have problems. They have a Sami Zayn problem. They have a Kevin Owens problem. They have a riddle to solve, and that's where the Judgment Day comes in. So there's like this whole unholy alliance thing happening at the beginning of Raw. We start off as far as matches with Solo and Ray. It's a good match. A lot of back and forth in that. And Ray is like the master of putting people over and still looking good himself. You know, you can't do it for the 20 years that he's done it.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been doing it for, I mean, if you count Mexico, he's been doing it like 30 years.
Yeah, so, and that's what this was, in my opinion. It was Ray putting Solo over. The Usos show up. They're getting ready to slink into the ring, and LWO says, no, I don't think so. And so they're fighting out in the ring. It gets close, but Solo beats Ray with the Samoan spike. And the Usos start beating down the LWO and get the 1D on Ray. So that's no fun.
I tell you what, some things never change. If you have LWO on your shirt, you're losing the match. I mean, things don't change, I guess.
That's very true. That's very true. We went from that into Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai. What you end up with in this match is Bianca's power and athleticism against Dakota Kai's speed and agility, and all of the above were on display in this match. It was a short match. Like, it wasn't, they could have gone a lot longer, I feel like, but in that short amount of time they were on there, it was a really, really good match. And I think this one was used, this whole match was set up to start putting Kai over. So
I hope so.
Bianca Belair wins the match with the KOD. We go from there into a Cody promo. And I always look forward to a Cody promo because
it was a good one.
Cody always puts on good promos. So he comes out and he knows what he wants to talk about. He's ready to talk about Brock Lesnar, and calls Brock Lesnar out, bring your ass to the ring. And the person that comes out does not look like Brock Lesnar. In fact, Adam Pearce comes to the ring and tells Cody, you're not cleared to wrestle. I can't let you do this. Cody's like, yes, you can, because this is what's going to happen. And he says, I'll tell you what, I can't let you do this tonight, but you can have your match with Brock. You can have your match with Brock at Backlash. So they set that up. And of course, Brock Lesnar comes out to the ring. And now Cody's going crazy because he wants to get at him. I think there were like 3 different waves of officials and wrestlers and stuff that started coming out. And Cody beat the crap out of all of them.
All of them.
And Adam Pearce is just sitting there going, what is going on here? Because he had no control over that. It was kind of funny, though, because whenever he said, I'll give you the match at Backlash, he just Cody's like, okay, you're right. I should leave. And then he starts beating everybody up. So it was a good promo. I had fun with that one. We go into what, in my opinion, was the match of the night after that. And it was Seth Rollins and The Miz. And you hear that and you're like, oh, great, a squash match. No, it was not. Seth Rollins comes out. He's conducting the crowd in his song. And Miz just starts wailing on him. And it's good for me to see angry Miz back.
Yeah, Miz is one of the most consistent workers in the WWE. It's awesome.
Oh, absolutely, he is, and it was good to see him get back to that. Get away from the gimmicks and all of that, and just get in there and fight. So, Rollins ends up winning it, but again, to me, match of the night. Lashley and Theory. Lashley calls out Theory wants that U.S. title. And so they start getting into it. Pretty decent match, a lot of back and forth in it. Just about to get the hurt lock on Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed comes out and interferes. So we're setting a little something up there.
Yeah, we know where that's going.
So what has to be the guy's favorite part of Raw, Trish Stratus comes out and does a promo. Dressed like 2000s Trish. Like she had on the coat and the hat and the whole nine. I was good with that. She throws it out there that she is the one that put women's wrestling on the map. Her, by herself, all by her onesies. That a lot of people think it was her.
Lita.
She said it was, a lot of people are going to say, but it was you and Lita. No, it was not we, it was me, was her exact quote on that. And she goes on to talk about everything that's going on. How she's the one that beat Lita down to facilitate her heel turn. There's something she said that I want to throw out there to you. She said that Charlotte and the 4 horse ladies, they think that they're the ones that brought about the Renaissance, and they're not. That she did that. She opened the door. So just to kind of throw this out there, call it fantasy booking if you will, but let's say SummerSlam, maybe even Survivor Series. You get all of this buildup where maybe we get the 4 horsewomen back together against Trish and 2 or 3 other Hall of Famers, and let those Hall of Famers what better way to revitalize what I can only call a suffering women's division in the WWE?
Yeah, I think that would take quite a bit of work, considering one of them is not even in the company anymore. I don't see her coming back, but...
Well, it was put out there that Trips is running the show, and she's not opposed to talking to Trips.
Trips been running the show this long, and she chose to go to New Japan over W to come back, so...
That's very true. So just a thought process there. I thought, it could be kind of a cool thing.
And all I gotta say is, if Charlotte Flair and Trish Stratus were in the same ring, Charlotte Flair is mopping the floor with Trish Stratus.
And as the guy would say, not something I'm opposed to seeing.
Yeah.
So from there, we went to Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville taking on Candice LeRae and Michin. I'm glad to see that there are more women's matches coming up in this. It was a good match, a whole bunch of back and forth. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville get the win. It was it was a good little exhibition match. You know, I liked what I saw.
Yeah.
And that brings us into the finale, the main event. You have Owen, Zayn, and Riddle against the Judgment Day. And anytime you have the Judgment Day, Rhea is there. And Rhea made her presence felt with just an ugly clothesline on Kevin Owens during the early time in the match. There's a whole bunch of back and forth between everybody. Riddle kind of getting the worst end of that. He's catching some beat down on it. At the end of the match ended with a stunner, a haluva kick, and a floating bro, back to back to back. How they made it through all of that, I don't know, but that's how it ended. And Raw went off the air in a scene that I was happy about. Standing in the ring, just wailing on each other. You had the Bloodline, you had the LWO, you had the Judgment Day, and then you had Sammy, Kevin, and Riddle. Just all faction war.
Very 1999-ish.
That's I ain't hating. I like it.
All in all, good. It was a good Raw.
All in all, Raw had some good build up, some good, throwing some new things out there, which is what they need to do in my opinion. So I liked what I saw there. All in all, I give it a solid A.
Yeah, I think A is a good rating for it. You got your Brock and Cody match confirmed.
Yeah.
I think, granted, we all knew it was coming, but it's, on the card now, so that's good.
Right. You got your explanation for your Trish turn. You've got Bronson Reed starting to get involved with Bobby Lashley, which you knew was going to happen.
Yeah, which the week before the match that Bobby and Bronson Reed had was really good. So
it was a banger match.
Look forward to seeing a program between the two.
I think it's going to be really good. Before we jump into AEW, I want to thank everybody that's watching. If you're out there, you're watching, you're listening, jump in the chat. Let us know what you thought about Raw. Let us know what you think about Dynamite, SmackDown. We'd love to hear from you. Just say hi. We're happy to have all of you here.
Don't bite. Breast isn't here. You ain't got to worry about it.
Well, that takes us into AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. And the opening segment was something to see. So Jungle Boy comes down, gets in the ring, grabs the mic, gets it to his mouth. Sammy Guevara's music hits.
Dang it.
Sammy Guevara starts making his way down, gets like 3 words out, and Darby Allin's music hits. So you've got 3 of the 4 pillars in the ring, and they're going back and forth at each other about who they respect, who's a scumbag. Yeah, they were talking about you, Sammy. But they go back and forth on that and who's going to be the next champ. MJF's music hits. He comes out and says he's talked to his very good friend, Tony Khan. And they've put together a tournament, a pillars tournament, if you will. And the winner gets to take on MJF for the Triple B at Double or Nothing. So everybody's excited now. Well, there's 3 of them, and how's that going to work? So he says one person gets a bye week, and Darby Allin got drawn, so he gets to sit back and watch this week. So you end up with Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Sammy Guevara later. So that's already going to be a good match.
The only thing, all right, we'll wait till the recap. We'll wait till the end for me to talk about this, but keep going.
All right, you've got Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker against Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. The Outcast versus the Champ, and it's for the tag. It's for the women's belt. I can't say enough about Jamie Hayter and the way she wrestles. Just, I've never seen her not put on a banger match. It's always good.
She's great. It was good when they took the belt off Thunder Rosa finally and gave it to Hayter.
You had the good mat work, you had the good air work, and that's from both teams. I think I've made it clear that I'm not the biggest fan of the Outcast gimmick, just because neither one of them are named Scott Hall or Kevin Nash. But all in all, it's good. And one thing I could say about this, watching Britt Baker in the ring, watching Jamie Hayter in the ring, watching even watching the Outcast, is that the women's division in AEW is thriving. You don't have bad women's match.
Yep.
Um,
Oh no.
oh, what's
Not
up?
Shannon.
We got Shannon Russell. What's up,
Hang
Shannon?
on.
Welcome to the chat. Glad you're here. After the match, we went into a Wardlow promo. I'm happy to see Wardlow. I always like to see him. He doesn't talk. But
Be
when
big. Be win. Be strong.
But there's me big, me win, me strong, me bring Arn Anderson with me.
Yeah.
He said straight up, I brought a horseman and Arn Anderson steps out. It's always good to see the enforcer show up on TV. Commercial break, come back to a Kenny Omega promo.
Was decent.
It was decent. If you saw last week, you saw that he pulled out a screwdriver as kind of a retaliation and it stuck it in the turnbuckle, and he says he can't get that out of his head. And he called out the Blackpool Combat Club, said, come to the ring, let's settle this like men. And of course, Bryan Danielson shows up on the big screen, says, nobody paid to see this amateur monologue. Well, while he's talking, BCC jumps out of the crowd into the ring and just starts wiping the floor with the Elite. Danielson comes down and pulls a screwdriver out, and he's getting ready to use a screwdriver, and Takashita comes down, and he comes in with the save, comes in clutch with the save. So I'm not gonna lie, when they were getting beat down and you could tell somebody's fixing to come out, I was kind of hoping it was gonna be Hangman Adam Page, but it was not.
They still got plenty of time to be. This isn't going to culminate. There's no way this culminates before
Wembley.
It's got to. It's got to.
I agree. But that doesn't make me want it any less.
Yeah.
So you get Wardlow and Hobbs for the TNT title. These two guys, I mean, it's exactly what you think it's going to be. Suplexes, power bombs, running shoulders. And after 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 consecutive power bombs, Wardlow wins the match. He is now, again, the TNT champion. We go from that into a promo with Sammy Guevara. He's getting ready to talk. MJF comes over and talks to him. Says he's going to make a deal with him. Gives him a piece of paper, tells him, write down your price to lay down tonight. And so he writes it down, says, looks good to me. And it cuts away. And I'm like, wait a minute. What is going on here? Why are we, what? Finger poke of doom? So I'm not real happy about that, but I am very happy about what happens next. You get the Switchblade Jay White against Commander. Absolutely match of the night.
Yeah, I was about to say, what a match. Holy cow, dude.
The rope work.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Jay White. Jay White's an amazing talent, but the way Commander works those ropes, walking, running, flipping, it was insane. Best match of the night by far. Of course, Jay White comes away with the victory, but man, what a match. If you didn't see it.
Was that Commander? No, it wasn't Commander's AEW debut, was it?
No,
it wasn't it?
No, it wasn't his debut. It was, however, Jay White's first official match.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was seeing.
Again, by far, best match of the night. So Jericho's in the ring after that, and Adam Cole comes down. Adam Cole, baby.
Baby.
He tells Jericho, I idolized you. I wanted to be you. And Chris tells him, I appreciate all the nice things you said and just feel from the bottom of my heart, I have zero respect for you. Couldn't care less about you. And so Adam Cole's like, you know what? Do you ever just wonder where the real Jericho went? You're an egomaniac that lets the Jericho Appreciation Society beat everybody for you. What happened to somebody real? And let's not forget that you called me out and I'm right here. So what's up? What are we going to do? So they get into it. They start brawling and everything. Britt Baker doesn't like what she sees. So she comes out and just backhands the hell out of Jericho. And
saves her man's.
well, she wanted to save her man's, but out from underneath the ring come the Outcasts, and they start beating her down. And while that's going on, some of the JAS pulls Adam Cole to the side and handcuffs him to the ropes. Sammy Guevara's got a kendo stick in his hand. Looks like he's fixing to just waylay Adam Cole, but hands it to Saraya, who begins to just absolutely beat Britt Baker. And it was ugly. It was violent. And so Cole's just begging, please stop, just stop. And when they finally do stop, Jericho gives Saraya a hug and they're standing in the middle of the ring celebrating everything. That's going to turn into something really, really ugly. Like, I wouldn't want to be Jericho right now because Adam Cole's fixing to hurt somebody.
Yep. That's going to be a good next couple of weeks for anyone not knowing Jericho.
So the Jericho Appreciation Society didn't have to go far because they had a match right afterwards against the Acclaimed. So you had Bowens, Caster, and Gunn versus Parker, Menard, and Hager. We the people.
We the people.
It was a good match. I mean, it's a decent match. I'm not gonna say it was good. It wasn't anything to write home about. It was what you would expect out of the Acclaimed and JAS. JAS is trying to do a bunch of underhanded things, and the Acclaimed is out there being superstars and showing out. In the end, the Acclaimed got it. There was a stipulation to this, though. It's good that they got it because the stipulation was if the Acclaimed lost, they had to become part of the Jericho Appreciation Society until Double or Nothing.
Oh.
So it's probably a good thing they won this match because can you imagine the Acclaimed out there with the JAS?
It would be terrible.
That wasn't going to work. Then we come into our last match of the night, Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy. Great match. Not what I saw coming. No, it wasn't what I saw either. It was a great match. I mean, they call these two pillars for a reason. It was in the ring. It was out of the ring. Loved what I was seeing until we had lots of great spots, and so Jungle Boy gets thrown out of the ring, lands on the timekeeper's table. He's like crawling, trying to make his way back into the ring. Sammy Guevara got the ref and being like, hey, distracting the ref. And of course, MJF jumps over the barrier, nails him right in the head with the dynamite diamond ring, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry loses by countout. You hate to see it. I was not thrilled. All in all, though.
All right, so what I was going to say earlier, this is just going to turn into a fatal four-way match. Like, there's no way this does not culminate in a fatal four-way.
Are you talking about the Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker thing?
No. The four pillars.
The pillar match?
Oh, yeah.
It's got to. I mean, I also feel like that's another thing that has to culminate at Wembley.
Yeah, if you want to sell out Wembley, that's what you got to. I mean, you got plenty of time to build to that. I guess it'd be maybe even like, bounce the belt around to each pillar one time, in between now and then, maybe. I don't know.
I could see it. I could see that working. But yeah, this is one of those things. It's kind of like the what we were talking about before. This is one of those things that has to culminate at Wembley.
Yeah, and I think if you bounce, because there's a long time between Wembley and now. I mean, over a year.
Yeah.
And if you bounce the title to if each one at least has like one title reign between now and then, it's not, you don't run into like a Roman situation where it's like, oh, well, these people obviously aren't ready or aren't equipped, so MJF is going to win. All of them are you don't know who's going to win that match,
No, and I wouldn't even try to throw a guess out there right now because all of them could very easily walk away with the belt in a match like that.
Yep.
So hoping that's what this turns into, because that's what I'd love to see. A+ job by AEW.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah, it was
wasn't
good.
anything that I didn't like. So I'm gonna give him an A+.
I'll say that the Jay White match was
Oh,
really good. I mean,
match of the night,
uh,
no question.
yeah, I think I didn't like the finish, obviously, but the Jungle Boy Sammy match was really good too. I could give it an A,
I
solid
just
A.
as soon as he was outside and trying to crawl back to the ring, I was like, I know what's
No,
fixing to happen.
yeah,
But all in all,
oh,
before that, the match was great.
yep, 100%. Well, then we work our way to SmackDown, and you start the night off with the LWO, well, Ray and Santos Escobar versus Finn and Damien Priest. We already discussed this. If you have LWO on your shirt, you're losing the match. So we know who won.
Yeah.
You had lots of tag team matches on SmackDown.
Okay.
You had Matt Riddle and Solo Sikoa. You had Matt Riddle. For some reason, he felt the need to tell everybody that Sammy and KO were not there, that they were getting ready for their tag match next Monday. So we'll see where that will. Tomorrow we'll find out who's going to win the titles. But then you had uh, Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders. Uh, I thought for a second Braun Strowman turned on Ricochet with the botch they had.
Yep. I did
I
too, to
mean,
be honest.
and the fact that he did this, goes outside of the ring and just lays down like no one. What is happening here? That was the. I mean, I heard budget cuts are coming, and Braun Strowman is on the list after that. He's got to be. Goodness gracious, that was terrible. But Braun Strowman and Ricochet pick up the win over the Viking Raiders. You had Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Raquel and Liv. It was a good match. Yeah. Liv and Raquel picked up the win.
So
Then
I've
you
got to throw,
had.
now that we've done this for about 3 weeks, I guess I kind of
Yeah.
ought to explain that. I was at your house, and I know you've all seen that meme, or I guess it's a meme with Leonardo DiCaprio where he sees something and just kind of points and whistles. Yeah, that's my response anytime I see Liv Morgan, my girl Liv.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, they won. Then you had the best match of the night. Uh, Gunther and Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods had not lost a singles match in like 2 years.
600 days.
Yeah, so it's been like two. I mean, he's lost matches, but he has not lost a singles match.
He has not, and I'm going to correct you a little bit there. He has not been pinned
Yeah,
in
there you
over
go.
600 days.
There you go.
Because
Well,
even when he lost in the tag matches, like New Day matches, he hasn't been pinned in over 600
yep,
days.
yep. Well, that streak was broken,
Yeah.
but it was a heck of a match. Xavier Woods. If we redid our list of underrated wrestlers, Xavier Woods is going on that list
Yes.
because that dude is so talented. And then finally, you had the Usos come out and talk about how they're going to win their titles back, and that's a promise to the tribal chief. Blah 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 blah.
Don't hold
So
back.
tired of all that.
Tell us how you
Yeah.
really feel.
And then they introduce Solo. Solo comes out, has his no DQ match with Matt Riddle, and Solo ended up winning, of course, super protected. But one thing that frustrated me, they announced Seth Rollins and Omos just coming back from a commercial break. These two haven't even had a cup of coffee together. Like, where did this match come from?
And I'm wondering if this is this where we're going? We're just going to start putting Omos against random whoever.
Yeah, I mean that's at least with Brock there was like
It was a big man
kind of
match.
at least they came out and said like, "Hey Brock, will you fight me?" Like it wasn't just hey guys, by the way, now that we're back from commercial, neither of these guys are here, but we're gonna do Almost and Seth Rollins, so be ready for that. It's like, what?
I don't understand that at all.
But as far as match quality, the matches were pretty good. I could give SmackDown a B. I think it was a B show.
See, and I've got to go B plus, but and the plus on that is based solely on the Gunther Xavier Woods match. That match
Yeah,
was
fair.
so good.
Fair,
Um,
that's fair.
One of the things about the Riddle Sokoa match that I thought was cool last week, when they all
Got the
fought,
beat down.
he got the beat down, got the announce table. Not he didn't get thrown on the announce table. He got the announce table thrown on him. Well, the same thing happened this time, only in reverse. Sokoa went over the announce table, and Riddle looks around, and he struggled a bit more than Solo did, but he got it turned over onto Sokoa. And so they're, the Usos, of course, came out, and they're all fighting and everything. Sammy, or it wasn't Sammy. Was it Sammy and Kevin? Oh no, Riddle was doing it himself. He's beating down the Usos, and he turns around to see Solo just push the table back over and stand up on it. And he just had this look of sheer terror on his face.
Man, what they're doing with Solo is awesome. I am a fan of Solo.
Now, I need to ask you a question about that. I'm glad you said you're a fan of Solo.
Okay.
So, whenever someone mentions the tribal chief, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, have you ever seen Solo Sikoa raise a one? All the time, just like this. Never once has he raised a one. And with the draft coming up, I mean, you kind of have to wonder, is there some implication there? Because we've talked before about if Solo ever turns on Roman, it's a bad day to be Roman Reigns.
All right, so this is the perfect segue into what we are going to talk about, and it is our draft predictions.
See, I try.
Yeah, I have the Usos getting drafted to Raw, and Roman and Solo staying on SmackDown.
Splitting the blood. Well, and it makes sense with, the tribal chief is getting fed up with the two of you, and then the Usos not knowing anything about the Judgment Day thing.
Yep.
It makes good sense.
And then that kind of separates. I think the Judgment Day will end up on SmackDown.
And see,
So I think that's the only way you spin it, really.
and I disagree. I think that Rhea stays on SmackDown, and so does Dom. Rhea and Dom on SmackDown, and Damian Priest and Finn Balor on Raw.
So, I mean, at that point, they're not the Judgment Day anymore then.
I mean, it's true, but how do you have to split it somewhere because they're on Raw right now, and she's the SmackDown champion.
Yeah, but they don't have a real, Raw feud going on,
True. That's fair.
Their feud is with the LWO, who are SmackDown.
Fair enough.
And the LWO is in the same waters that the Judgment Day was in the very beginning. I think they're in danger of losing their legitimacy if they don't start pulling out some wins.
So here's one of my hot takes on what's going to happen. Drew McIntyre to Raw, but not as the Scottish Warrior. Drew McIntyre comes back to Raw in his black jacket, just the badass that he was in NXT.
I hope so. I mean, he needs. I'm so tired of the sword and kilt.
I mean, I get it.
Come out to his old broken dream. So, man.
I feel like that's
sick.
I feel like that's got to happen. I also feel like Gunther goes to Raw. Gunther goes to Raw to flip the IC title.
Yeah, I think Gunther and Theory swap brands. I think Theory's going to end up on SmackDown.
I think so also.
and Gunther will end up on Raw. Now, whether or not I'm sure Imperium, as I told, it just depends. They've been so hush hush about the brand split
Mhm.
that it's like, so with the draft, are they like drafting? Can they draft like a faction, and or how does that work? Because I mean, how kind of shitty is that gonna be? Like you use one pick for Gunther, and then your next pick is Ludwig Kaiser. Just you spend
Yeah.
3 picks on Imperium. So it's like, how are they? There's a lot of factions going on right now,
There
so it's
are,
interesting to see what they're gonna do.
and
If they're gonna,
I kind of
to
wonder if
keep them together or not.
I wonder if that's going to be something that happens. Is they're going to be able to draft factions?
Yeah, like it uses your next 2 picks or something to pick a faction or something like that.
So there's another thing I want to see happen. I can't tell you how badly I want to see happen because I don't think after the draft you can have another Monday Night Raw without L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think that would be good for him as well. I
I,
think, yeah.
I think it gives him a new set of talent to go against. And I don't feel like he's being utilized correctly on SmackDown. And it's not at his fault or at the fault of the booking, really. It's just that there's so much going on SmackDown that there's not really a place for him to run. Like they were going to do the Xavier Woods thing, but then they moved Xavier Woods around over to Gunther. So I just feel like he's got more of a shot on Raw.
Yeah, and I don't know. I if they do swap the mid card titles, I would kind of want to see him stay on SmackDown because I feel like he is a good person to put the United States title on.
I could see him in
Because
theory battle.
yeah, I feel like that would be a good. No one is. There's not as many people. I'm not gonna say no one. There's not a lot of people as over as LA Knight is right now. I don't think he has any problem transitioning to the babyface.
All right, so I'm gonna throw some names at you real quick. I'm gonna go rapid fire with it. You tell me what you think.
Okay.
Ron Breaker, all up.
I don't think so.
Cameron Grimes.
I pretty positive he is. I've heard they've had plans for him for like months now. So
Okay. So Cameron Grimes is a
I
yes. Ron
think
Breaker's a no. What about Ilja Dragunov?
dude, that dude is crazy.
I
Yes.
know if he does not get on the main roster in this draft, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Have you seen the match between him and pre Gunther Walter?
Yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
my gosh,
Yes.
those matches. He's got. Oh man, yeah, no.
What about
Wherever Gunther goes, he has to go because that's got to be done.
what about Tyler Bate?
I could maybe.
I hear a lot of talk about him, and I hear a lot of talk about bringing him up. The only way that gets to happen is if he doesn't ever shave again, because
Yes.
he is the definition of freaking baby face.
Yeah. 100%.
Like
I could
he looks
see
like
it.
you're right now. He's got like that Viking look about him, and when he shaves his face, he looks like your Sunday school teacher. I can't I can't with that
Reminds me
guy.
of when he shaves. Reminds me of Adam Cole. That's who I think of when I see
Yeah.
him.
Okay, Roxanne Perez.
Uh, no, I don't think
You don't
so.
feel like she's ready yet?
I don't think so.
I feel like this next person. I feel like this has to be a call up. Indy Hartwell.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Do I
I don't
see
know.
her immediately going against like a Rhea or a Charlotte or a Bianca? No. But can you imagine an Indy Hartwell Dakota Kai match or an Indy
Yeah.
Hartwell and uh, Sky? Got her name.
Io Sky.
Io Sky.
Yeah.
Those like she would be a perfect mid card female.
Yeah, I agree. Uh,
Um,
I think it needs some. It needs an injection of life in that division as well. So,
it does.
but the only thing is they have so many females just waiting on the sidelines right now. Like you have your Piper Niven, you have your Candice LeRae that were they were just as good, if not better, on NXT as Indy Hartwell. And what are they doing on the main roster? Nothing.
Well, and I agree with that. I mean, they have the same problem that Gargano has. Gargano got called up to the main roster and they're just not utilizing him right. And he was just absolutely a beast on NXT.
Yep. Cross too, Karrion Cross,
Yeah,
which I'm excited.
It looks like they're about to do something with Karrion Cross.
I didn't even talk about the Shinsuke Nakamura and Karrion Cross promo.
I'm excited.
Vignettes. Yeah, those were pretty cool. But
got one more name to throw at you. Nikita Lyons.
Do I want to see her on the main roster?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A whole lot.
Yes. Yes. Do I think I don't know, she's just been injured so much that it's like, I think over the last 2 years, she's missed like.
I mean, she's out right
8
now.
Months. Exactly. I don't think so. She hasn't even won, the title in NXT. I don't think so. I don't think she's ready. But she's young. I mean, she's only like my age. She's only like 25. So.
Right. All right. So, as always happens with the draft, you run into tag team and faction splits. So let me throw a few of those at you. I told you what I thought about the Judgment Day. I think they keep Dom and Mommy together, and then the other two go to Raw. That's what I
think. Okay. I think they all go to SmackDown. I think the Judgment Day ends up on SmackDown.
We've already discussed the Bloodline. Bloodline are probably, and I agree with you, they're probably going to split Usos on Raw, Roman and Solo on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman, the magician that he is going to play that as, no, it's okay. You two can stay over here on Raw. This is total dominance of Raw and
exactly.
SmackDown.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, they will still have like a connection that'll be like, I need y'all to go assert dominance on Raw. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there will still be. It's not like they're gonna just bam, Bloodline's dead. There's still gonna be a connection, but it's just not gonna be every Friday night. We're gonna see. It's not gonna be the Bloodline show on Fridays anymore.
Right. What about the New Day?
Well, there's only one of them right now, so.
Big E's on his way back.
Yeah.
For those that didn't see it earlier on in the news, he's had his 1 year checkup. Now he's just got to meet with doctors to find out what the next step is because he feels great. He's working out, rehabbing great. So.
I don't know. I think with what Xavier Woods said, I bet he probably goes to Raw. The whole reason the Gunther match got set up was because he was like, the draft's coming up. You never know what's going to happen. So I want my shot at the IC title before that, blah, blah, blah. So
right.
I bet he probably ends up on Raw.
The LWO. You think they stay on SmackDown?
Yes, 100%.
Valid point, sir. Valid point.
Not wrong.
So I think after watching the arguments that have been happening about Otis, there's no question in my mind Alpha Academy splits it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I think Otis stays on Raw. I think Gable goes to SmackDown.
Yep. Which would be awesome. I am so excited to see a Gable Solos push.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That dude is so talented.
100%. I mean, so good. So good.
What about your Street Profits?
Angelo Dawkins is going to go to SmackDown.
And you think Tez stays Raw?
Yeah. Well, I bet Tez goes to SmackDown, actually. Because what do you do with him? I don't know. what do you do with him on Raw at that point? Because I don't think Tez is not going to be the guy to take the belt off of Gunther.
Fair.
But Tez needs a belt.
He does. Absolutely,
soon,
he does.
or he's going to lose all his momentum.
That's it.
So
Bring,
it's like,
bring the 24/7 belt back.
that's when our truth comes back.
Well, then bring the damn belt back.
Yeah, no, that's.
You think
I
you
think,
think I'm against anything that brings our truth back?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
That's
right.
what,
You're right.
that's
You're
one of my
right.
that is by far one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah,
That dude is
so
just
funny.
hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah, that dude is so funny.
And he could even bring little Jimmy with him. I'm fine with it.
I saw a video the other day of him and Triple H going back and forth.
Yeah. You're talking about the one where he's like, you're talking to people who aren't there. I know, it's almost like I'm insane, isn't it?
Yeah. That was so funny.
It's a good video. All right. So, Alexa Bliss. I feel like she comes back and she goes to SmackDown and they start the Wyatt 6 story.
I was about to say, what the hell is up with Bray Wyatt? Where's he at? Alexa. Don't say that again.
Oops.
But yeah.
For those of y'all that didn't hear it, I said a certain young lady's name and
Amazon was listening.
Amazon was listening. That's why I changed the name of mine. That's not her name anymore because every time I talk about one of my favorite female wrestlers, I get to talk to Amazon.
Yeah. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Maybe Jeffrey likes you.
Maybe. I mean, if you could send some free stuff my way, I'd be all right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Bray Wyatt. And then you have, Endeavor said that, like, Nick Khan, it's not Vince that came out. It's Nick Khan that came out and said they're going to be aggressive with budget cuts.
Right.
So it's like, who has been on the sidelines
now
recently?
Nick Khan said that they're going to be aggressive with budget cuts, but there's the other half of what Nick Khan said. The majority of that is going to be in office, not talent.
Because they're consolidated, but there will be some talent. But because of course they're going to merge their certain departments. It's like we have our guys for this department. We want them to come in and manage this y'all's department now. So I get that.
Which whenever we heard about the merger, that was the hope was that you're gonna consolidate in the back end of things with your HR and your legal teams and all of that. Not consolidating talent.
Yeah, honestly, it's been since Mania. I have not even thought about Bray Wyatt. That's like,
well, there's been a couple of things that have been confirmed regarding Bray Wyatt. He does have a physical injury that's keeping him out. Like that's finally been confirmed, and it's something that he has not been medically cleared to wrestle.
Okay.
Like the plan was for him to come back at Mania, but he could not get medically cleared to come back at Mania.
Okay. Well, I hope they do something good with him because you can't come back and start where you left off. You gotta throw some real. You gotta mix it up big somehow. Skip forward and just he come back with Alexa Bliss and Bo Dow, they immediately just come back and come out, and not this slow build because it's been slow building since November was Extreme Rules, I think.
Well, and there's a perfect way to do it, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I think it should be SmackDown. There's a perfect way to do it where, bring the door out and all the smoke and the light and all that, and then just shine lights down on the Wyatt 6.
Yeah.
Have them all all at once. These people are here now.
You know who I'm excited to see come back eventually one of these days?
Who's that?
AJ Styles. I love watching AJ Styles wrestle.
And, I'm glad you said that because this is where things get crazy with the draft. You start looking at your bigger names. Look at your AJ Styles. When Randy Orton comes back, where do you put Orton? Where do you put, well, we've already discussed where we put Roman Reigns. Do you leave Bianca Belair on Raw?
If Reigns is on SmackDown, are they gonna move? Who's gonna move to SmackDown? I mean, I think.
Do you leave Cody and Brock on Raw? The big names. This is where the big talk comes.
If they do two separate, if they make a new title for Roman and a new Raw title, then I want to see. Obviously, then for now, at that point, maybe I don't know, man, because you can't just like nix the Cody Roman stuff because that was so like deeply rooted. I mean, it was really good. You have to circle back around to that eventually.
Well, and they can circle back to that with a reuniting of the belts because they do that every so often. They split the belts, they reunite the belts, they split the belts, they reunite the belts. But with the buildup that's going on with Brock, having to earn it and all of this stuff, you can't just throw a new belt on Cody.
Exactly. So it's like this.
Do you wait till after? Do you wait till after Brock and Cody fight to? Like you don't immediately release the new belts?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. And maybe they don't even do that, but that would be stupid to not do. I don't think that would be a good idea, but I do want to see the one like good match that we haven't got to see for the world title that I think would be good would be Roman and Bobby Lashley. So I would love to see Bobby Lashley go to SmackDown.
It would be a good match. No question about that.
Because I was thinking, you leave Drew on SmackDown and you could do that again, but
no, I still 100% Drew goes to Raw.
Yeah,
Drew goes to Raw with a new persona.
I hope so.
That is my.
I mean, not that
I'm putting that down.
That is terrible,
but it's played out.
I was like, he made a name. He came back because of the persona he made for himself on the indies. Same thing Cody Rhodes did, and they let Cody Rhodes come back and play that persona. They let Drew come do it in NXT, and even his first month on the main roster with Dolph Ziggler. Whether or not he wears the black jacket again, it doesn't matter. He needs to be a heel. Whatever
it is,
whatever
absolutely
sense
he
of
does.
his persona, he needs to be heel.
As long as he doesn't come back as part of the 3-man band,
if he comes out wearing, he needs to. Comes out wearing those leather pants, everyone's gonna go crazy.
Not for the reasons you think. But there's so much that can happen in this, and like we're discussing with your big names like Bobby Lashley, Cody Rhodes. Where's Bray Wyatt gonna go? Where's AJ Styles gonna go?
NXT call-ups.
I mean, there's so many different directions this draft can go, and it starts Friday. I mean, it starts on SmackDown.
This Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, it is this Friday.
It starts this Friday on SmackDown.
Dang, I thought it was next Friday.
Nope, starts this Friday on SmackDown.
That's crazy. That's gonna be crazy.
Crazy is doing the WWE draft while they're doing the NFL draft.
It's part of the season, Tis the season to be drafting. La 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 la.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. So, at the end of this draft, what kind of new storylines do you think we see? Because, I think you have wherever, and we didn't even talk about this, but Sammy, Kevin, and Riddle Do they all stay on Raw? Do they all go to SmackDown? Do you split them up?
Well, I don't think Riddle is a permanent fixture of the team. I think that's kind of just tiding over till Backlash. Then Riddle's going to go off on his own. But I do think Sammy and KO stay on Raw.
I agree with that, and I think you move Riddle to SmackDown, and as soon as he's healthy and able to come back, you do the same with Randy. With Randall Keith Orton Jr. the third.
But you don't bring back RK Bro. You make
no. You put it against each other.
Yes, I would say you make this huge swerve. I think that's the way he comes out and saves it. Very Triple H, Shawn Michaels esque. Whenever Shawn Michaels came back and Triple H, came out to save him, and then Triple H then just pedigreed him, and everyone was like, "What?"
We don't talk about that. So funny story for you. I spent a whole long time saying that DX was coming back. The wrestling gods had spoken to me. DX was coming back. SummerSlam 2011, I think it was. We're building up to that.
No. This was the 2002 comeback.
Was it?
It was SummerSlam. Yes.
That was 02. Okay.
Yes.
That's right. You're right.
02, though.
Right. It's 02. So they're building up to this, and Trips is in the ring and says something about, being ready. Are you ready? And I'm like, it's happening. And Shawn Michaels is there. They pull off the shirts that they have on. They got DX shirts on. I am losing it. It's dinner time. I got my plate of macaroni in my hand, and I'm just like, yeah, just losing it until Shawn Michaels decides that he's going to super kick Triple H instead of doing a crotch chop. How do you super kick somebody mid crotch chop? I threw my plate of macaroni at the damn TV. I was so upset. It was good times till it came time to clean up the TV, but that is what it is. But this draft, you have the possibility to create storylines that will get that same kind of reaction out of people.
And I think that's like an entire podcast episode in itself. I mean, because at that point, it's like maybe, we got to come and, because to really go in the storylines, I would have to have my full, all right, this is who's, I need a layout of the draft. At least give us some information of how many picks each person gets. Can you pick factions? Because I can't make a plan if I'm oh, well, I'm planning for this whole faction to come, but that whole faction takes up 6 picks.
Right. I'm going to stop this conversation for just a second. Say what's up to SCP Rick. He says, I'm so sorry I'm late to the party. It's been a long day. Man, it's not a party until Rick gets here, so you're not late at all.
Exactly.
So welcome to the chat. Glad you're here with us. We've been discussing the draft and where we think things are going to go. And I'm with you. I need the rules.
I need give me a layout. What is the plan? How many picks does each roster get? Can you pick factions? What is the rules for picking factions? I just need to know what's going on. But they've been so hush-hush about it. It's ugh. Which I like, but I don't at the same time for this purpose.
I have heard a rumor, and it kind of goes into what I was saying about, the original 4 horsewomen and against some Hall of Famers. There's some talk that there are some Hall of Famers that may be drafted.
Like who?
I've just heard the rumor that there's some Hall of Famers that could be returning. I don't think you're going to get a Rock or a Stone Cold.
No chance.
Trips isn't coming back.
No, and because if you did that, you're just getting a cheap pop, because it's not like either one of those are coming back for a long run or anything. You're just oh, we're gonna draft Stone Cold Steve Austin to Raw, and you're gonna get the pop, and he's gonna be around for 2 weeks, and then he's gone.
That's why I say something about the 4 horsewomen and some Hall of Famers, because I could see, say, Molly Holly coming back for a run. I could see maybe Victoria coming back for a run. I mean, I could see some. I mean, imagine that match. You've got Sasha finishes up her New Japan stuff. Even if it's just a one-off, she shows up. You've got your original four horsewomen with Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, and Sasha against Trish, Lita, Victoria, and Molly Holly. You've got two
They're
different.
getting
You've got
mollywopped.
well, and they may get mollywopped, as Russ likes to say, but at that point, you've got two different generations of audiences that are going to tune into this match. And then you've got a chance for these Hall of Famers to put over the four horsewomen, flip that on its side, and you've got the four horsewomen able to bring up some of the NXT talent that gets the call up to Raw.
That's just,
And that revitalizes the entire women's division.
yeah, it's just, it's not something I would hold my breath for, you know?
No, it's definitely fantasy booking, but
yeah, I don't see, a scenario where Sasha Banks comes back anytime soon. So
What's
that's
up?
the big kicker there for me.
What's up, Camino? Glad to see you're here. Glad to see you in the chat.
What up, what up?
So
But yeah, I just don't see that situation.
I feel like we're going to have, they've got to have something big on the horizon. They wouldn't be so hush hush about it.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something there.
And like I said, I think the Usos going to Raw and Solo and Roman staying on SmackDown is going to be a big plot point. I think that's going to have some huge implications. Whether or not that happens, I think that's going to happen. But
Do you still see them doing the Sammy and Kevin and the Usos thing on Raw?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I eventually this is going to lead to, I think for the first time, Sammy is going to betray Kevin Owens, and this will lead somewhere, to a grudge match down the road for the 700th time. But every grudge match they put on is, it's fantastic. So
true, and I mean, going down that road, I could also see a Jimmy and Sammy thing happening.
yeah.
And Jay splitting off to do his own thing.
And the thing is with that, with Money in the Bank, even if you do the brand split, it's not like you can't circle back to Jay and Roman because Jay could win the Money in the Bank or something like that. So it's like then he could cash in. It's so hard to, because we don't know anything. We don't know if they're gonna give Raw a new world title or give SmackDown a new wherever Roman ends up. We don't know if they're giving the opposite brand a new world title.
Very true.
It's hard to book anything without them giving us at least a outline of what's going to happen.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And
yeah, I'm excited.
I haven't seen anything about what the rules are yet, so I'm really hoping they put that out there before the draft happens.
So you got tomorrow to find out. So
that's about it.
Yeah, I did see that management is considering this draft as the start of the Triple H era. This is when he takes full control because he was handed a bunch of storylines already.
Right.
So this is Triple H wiping the slate clean and starting from scratch with his ideas. So we'll see how that goes.
And I feel like
I think that'll be fun.
I feel like it's going to go well. Being somebody that's been a part of some of the best storylines in the business, he knows how to run a storyline.
I did it for The Rock.
I did it for the people. Go back all the way to Kishi, huh? And with the bloodline thing and the different feuds that happen, maybe that's one of the people they're talking to. there's people that are saying that some Hall of Famers are going to get called back in. Maybe Kishi's one of them.
I don't know.
I think it could be cool if it was.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he. I haven't seen Rikishi in so long that I don't know if he's ring ready.
Ballooned to Yokozuna levels.
I doubt that.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I haven't seen him, so I couldn't tell you. But
it'd be cool to see if he was.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's a lot of ways this could go, and I'm excited to see. Oh, we'll know at least part of it next week. I mean,
we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen, and we're approaching that 10:15 mark. And Rick, Camino, I know you guys just joined up, but we may be ending just a little bit early tonight because one of us has to leave for work at 5:30 in the morning, and it ain't me.
Yeah, not fun. But
so, recap of things that are going on. May is a big month. We've got BCW Head Games on May the 6th in Levelland TMW Event Center. That's going to be awesome. On the 18th, we've got our boys in Labor 12 joining Psycho Stick live on stage. I believe they're doing that at Jake's, and that's going to be, if you haven't had a chance to see Labor 12 live, this is your chance to do so, and you don't want to miss out on it. And you know what? Psycho Stick, beer. I love Psycho Stick. They're a great band. So that's going to be a fun concert to go to. Make sure you pick up your tickets for that. And then, of course, Square Circle Pro Tornado Slam on the 20th. There at Jake's. It's just a big month in May. There's a whole 100%. Lot going on.
Tune in to our socials. May have some changes coming up. We're gonna cuss and discuss and figure out for sure.
There may be some changes coming up. So over everything we've talked about, let's go ahead and get your final thoughts for this week's podcast.
I'm excited for the draft. I hate that they're not giving us any information as for our purpose right now, fantasy booking. But I'm also genuinely excited that they aren't, because as the fan in me watching it, it's going to be, fun to watch. Not like knowing. Yes. Give the man something. I hate the way that Baron, because they've changed his character so much. He's one of the better workers. He's safe. He's good. I hate to see what they've done with him, because now no one's he's not taken seriously because of all the gimmick changes, and I hate it for Baron Corbin because he's not a bad talent.
Now, before we finish with your final thought, Rick saying that does bring up a question. How involved do you think NXT will be in the draft? Will we be drafting people from main roster to NXT to main roster?
I didn't even think about going to NXT. I feel, yeah.
And Camino, you're right. The Lone Wolf was by far his best iteration, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then they screwed it over.
Yep.
Stupid. They got to, and it's just going to be so hard if they. Everyone's saying bring the Lone Wolf back, but it's just hard for people to. I think it'll be hard for it to be taken seriously after everything that's happened already. But I don't know. I'm excited for the draft.
I am too. The draft is going to be cool, and that I'm gonna have to sit and think on that for a minute, because that does add a whole new aspect to
other element.
The idea of drafting to NXT.
I'll say I've thought hard about NXT call-ups, but I haven't thought about NXT exactly. Like, they brought it out that
all names are eligible.
And when I heard about that my first thought was NXT call-ups. It never crossed my mind sending someone to NXT. So that just added a whole new element to everything I've been thinking of. So
and it opens up NXT more as far as people interested in seeing what happens.
Yeah, and they've kind of dabbled in it a little bit, with the New Day winning the NXT tag titles and You know, 2 years ago, Charlotte won the NXT Women's Champions. So it's like they've dabbled a little bit. So get some of these bigger names on NXT and really help the younger, you know, because it's a lot of young people on that roster. I mean,
It is. Absolutely it
mid
is.
20s. You know, you got Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. You know, they're my age, and here I am looking like a sack of potatoes, and they're, you know, winning NXT championships.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it it's going to be interesting to see where everybody goes, and I'm looking forward to it. Uh, anything else in your final thought?
not just excited. Appreciate everyone that came in, and be ready to talk about the draft after it's happened.
All right, so I'm gonna throw some of this out there to see what everybody thinks. Rick says he'd move the following Raw people to SmackDown: AJ Styles and the OC, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Tommaso Ciampa, Bailey, uh, Dominic, Mustafa Ali, Shelton Benjamin, Asuka. The following NXT call-ups to SmackDown: uh, Dijak, Ilja Dragunov. I can't wait for that one. Where is that? Roderick, Wesley, Roxanne Perez, Blair Davenport, Katana Chance, and Caden Carter. From SmackDown to Raw, Gunther and the Imperium. We were discussing that earlier, actually, how that's going to work out. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, Charlotte Flair, Pete Dunne, Shotzi, Natalia, Aaliyah, and call ups to Raw, Cameron Grimes, Indus Sher with Jinder Mahal, Pretty Deadly. I see. I'd forgotten all about Pretty Deadly, but I can't see them not getting called up.
Apparently, the Seth Rollins. You remember Monday after the Raw after Mania, where Seth Rollins came out and they sent him back. Apparently, that was supposed to be a spot. That was supposed to be where Pretty Deadly got called up, and then they nixed it. That's what I heard. I don't know. That's a rumor, but that's what I heard.
So Camino's saying Vicky and Chavo Guerrero come back and help Dominic run LWC, taking it away from Ray. Drama.
Does Chavo come back or does Kerwin White come back?
No, Kerwin White is on a golf course somewhere.
Yeah, true.
Doesn't have time to be coming back to wrestling. Let's see.
I definitely think Hit Row needs to go back to NXT for sure.
I could go with that. Baron Corbin,
Gable Stevenson. Yeah, I forget he's even on the roster.
We're trying to take my R-Truth away from me, Rick. I've been watching more shows so I can see R-Truth. But
yeah, I'm excited.
And just looking over Rick's moves here, I mean, I could see the majority of this. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's just so you can't start with the excuse me, Camino. I don't. You know, I just got past where I hear that in my nightmares. So
yeah, that was terrible. What a terrible time that was.
Yes, me.
I hated it.
He's right though. The place would pop.
Yeah, their eardrums would pop. That's what he means. Like he doesn't.
Imagine that though. You know how in the NFL draft, the first day that they do the picking, they bring out guests to do the to announce the picks. Imagine that pick coming out. She comes out with the whole excuse me thing and sends somebody from the LWO somewhere.
Yeah, I'll throw my plate of macaroni.
Hashtag macaroni throw.
Yeah, they don't want the smoke.
Rick, thanks for giving us the picks. I think this is one of my favorite parts of it. Is these are the things that could happen. This is what I would do. This is
they're just so hush hush about it. It's like, so it really is. You know, a lot of wrestling as of recently, a lot of WWE has been very predictable, and this is hard to predict. I mean, it really is. Like, there's so many different things that can be done. They're not really giving any. I've seen probably 20 different, rumors. I've seen Roman going to Raw, Roman going to SmackDown. I haven't seen Roman going to NXT, but at this point, wouldn't surprise me. Someone predicted it.
I mean, there's another title he needs to get. I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all these different predictions, and no one really knows, and it's exciting to see how it actually unfolds.
And you're exactly right. And that the
Exactly.
fact that
Yep,
we
that's
don't
true.
know is what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. It's going to be exciting to see what new storylines come out of the moves that happen. And it all starts for us Friday night.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. Want to thank we're getting to that 10:25 point, so we're fixing to have to shut it down. So I want to thank everybody for checking in with us. Thank you to Rick and Camino and Seraph and everybody that came into the chat. Thank you to Shannon for joining us as well.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Syraf. Want to remind everybody that you've got all sorts of opportunity to see West Texas independent wrestling. If you haven't done it, for the love of God, go to your BCW head games. Go to Tornado Slam. You will not regret it. That is some of the
He holds
best
Eva
wrestling.
Rain hostage. Holds Eva Rain hostage until, tells The Rock, you'll get your daughter back when you give me my match.
Why are we not booking things? That's the real question here. Is why are we not booking?
I say have Dwayne call Roman. I don't know where you are, but I will find you and I will kill you.
That's oh my goodness. Camino talking about Tornado Slam 520.
Be there, be square.
It's gonna be good. It's the month of May is big for wrestling. I'm looking forward to it. Again, thank you to everybody for being in the chat. Thank you for everybody that's joined and watched. Even if you weren't chatting, thank you for being here. Thank you to Ross and Labor 12. This is getting to be more and more exciting every time we do it. And we're glad you guys are doing it with us. That's going to do it for us tonight. So until next time, we are not your average marks.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next week.